Hello. Hello, beautiful people. This is Courtney here with Stars of the Morning Light. Stars of the Morning Light is a spiritual resource platform with free meditations, blogs. I will put a link below if you want to check that out. But this, though, for only YouTube, is teaching ancient texts. A lot of my followers on Instagram wanted me to start doing this, and so here I am. I'm with you, teaching ancient texts. The first thing we're going to start trying to cover is the Hermetic Principle of all is mind. But we can't really go deep into that yet until we understand what a blocker of ours might be to really start wrapping our heads around that. So part A to lesson 1 is going to be about the dimensions that we live in and that we can go through to finally really understand all is mind. Sorry, I need to take a nice deep breath. There's a lot that we're going to cover. I'm going to try to keep it as basic as I can and go at a normal pace with things. I apologize if I go off on a little bit of a side note because all is connected. All is connected. And we are now going to embark on examining the spider web that is the universe and our part in it. We are going to start, like I said, with the first Hermetic principle of all is mind. The universe, everything is mind. And I'm going to talk a little bit briefly about the history of these texts. I'm not going to go deep into the history of things because it will generally come up in multiple lessons. And if any time you feel inspired, you feel like you resonate with these videos, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, leave a comment. It is starting the dialogue about this stuff is what is going to actually help us to remember that all is mind. We are all connected, and all of this wisdom is already within us. I'm going to read a quote that we'll get to in a little bit, but I want everyone to know that this big lesson is all is mind, with many parts to it, but an underlining theme will always be, and it's from the Gnostic text. So as soon as the Father, the source, knowledge, comes to be known, forgetfulness will cease to be. We are going to examine that. So I said we were going to start with all is mind, the Hermetic teachings. This is the Kybalion. This is actually 3 initiates. Initiates are those who know of their flame and hold their flame and try to present to others. This is still old stuff. This is them trying to break everything down for people. Okay. In order to know what this is, we have to go even further back, which this is my favorite text. I will most likely use this a lot. This is the Emerald Tablets by Thoth the Atlantean. The proper way to say it is Thoth, but I am westernized, so I say Thoth often. So Thoth the Atlantean. Who he was, and yes, he did become an Egyptian god because why? He established Egypt. So he was from Atlantis. And when he was kind of off doing his own thing, because he was able to overcome time, space, everything, he was gone doing his own thing. And when he got back to Atlantis, they destroyed it. Their own people destroyed Atlantis, and he even writes about that in here. So he took a lot of the remaining people from Atlantis, and he put them on what he refers to as a spaceship, and he brought them to Egypt, where at first he referred to all them as barbarians, and he is the one who created the Egypt that we know of now, that we have known through all the ages, the pyramids, everything. He is the one. He is a god of theirs, who then, in his own, and once again, guys, if any of this is interesting to you, this is a space for you to open up your mind and do the research. Take part in your own learning, your own understanding. So, he said he would incarnate into different beings, so the messages that he gives in here will still continue on. Hence, later down the road, Hermes transmiscus. Sorry, ooh, as the camera falls. This is actually my third attempt to recording. Obviously, I don't have the best stuff to record with yet, and I don't ever wait for everything to be in place. I just do because I'm called to, you know? So I apologize that the camera just fell. And I apologize that this is now my third time trying to get this done and recorded today. So I'm a little loopy, I guess. Going back to Hermes. Master. The three great. This is Thoth incarnated, many believe, who became the teacher who lived for at least about 300 years or so. So we think. I'm not too keen on really timelines. That everyone else would come and learn from. And eventually the Greeks and the Romans came to learn from him, and they took him and created a god around him. Okay? This is the third book we're going to be using. Which, by the way, I do want to say, in some Christian networks that work with angels, some beliefs in angels, the angel Metatron, the one human that God turned into an angel named Metatron, that would also be Thoth, okay? So we're also going to be using the Nag Hammadi Scriptures. This is the Gnostic text. Prior to Christ, so we went from the beginning of Egypt to post-Egypt to, then there was the scene. This is before Christ. It is actually pretty much understood from a lot of people that Christ probably studied under the scene for many, many years. Those 30 years he was missing, you know? And then there's Christ. And there was the branch off of Christianity that really became a thing, you know, during, I don't want to go too much into history, but this is very early Christian text, which is really referred to as the Gnostic text, because it is taking the essence and the truth of the scene and stuff that Christ was teaching. And this is where you're going to get, you know, the story about Enoch. This is where you're going to get a whole lot of gospels that are not in the Bible, okay? Vastly different translation as to, you know, how things came into being. And this is why we need this, because we are going to be talking about dimensions today. That we live in the third dimension, and our hope is to elevate, ascend into higher dimensions. And all sorts of ancient texts talk about the different dimensions. I'm only ever going to use like 2 or 3 materials at a time. And I will try to post that at the, give a link to that you can freely read them yourself. Because I don't expect everybody to have these books just right at hand. Nor do I expect you to go out and buy everything that will be presented here. I'm going to try to keep it so everyone can follow. Everyone. Everyone can remember. Everyone can let go of their forgetfulness and remember our true essence, our flame within, the flame of knowledge, the all is mind, one with the Father, the source. I want to speak briefly, though, on how us humans, and whenever an ancient text is referring to man or men, that is just referring to humans, us. I want to speak briefly, though, on how we learn. We have knowledge, and then plus experience equals understanding. And the depth to our understanding is where wisdom lies. That is why we're always looking to older people for wisdom, because they've lived longer, they have way more experience. And we need that to have actual understanding. That's the old phrase of, walk a mile in someone else's shoes. The reason for that is because knowledge, we have our knowledge, we have our logic, which is we can read any of this stuff. Awesome, good. But experience brings the feeling. It brings the walking a mile in someone else's shoes. So knowledge plus experience equals understanding. And the depth of our understanding, the more experience, the depth of our understanding brings the wisdom. Now, with that being said, that is how us humans in our 3D mindsets learn. Once we start to release the veil of 3D, remove the fog, which we're going to talk about, we can come to know that within us is the flame of all wisdom and knowledge, which is the Father, the source, which is all is mind. So, let's continue. I'm going to read briefly from the Kybalion about the first Hermetic Principle, all is mind. The universe is mental. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is a substantial reality underlining all the outward manifestations and appearances, please remember that, all of the manifestations and appearances, which we know under the terms of the material universe, the phenomena of life, matter, energy, and in all short, all that is apparent to the material senses, is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable, but which may be considered and thought of an universal, infinite, living mind. I don't want to go deep into that. It's a brief summary of all is mind. This is the concept in that movie, The Matrix, of when the kid's holding the spoon and he's like, the spoon exists because I see it. I can do whatever I want with this spoon. And he starts bending it. So what are our blockers? Like, why can't we just bend a spoon? Why can't we just bend this spoon? This is the truth of the matter, is because we're very much still in 3D. And so I'm going to talk about 3D. In order to talk about 3D, I have to go to the Emerald Tablets. So in the Emerald Tablets, he discusses how there are 9, what is referred to as cycles, but they're really the dimension governing over man. So when it says governing, that means what we see, what we think, what we feel, what we need to work through, what we need to process, what holds us back, or what enlightens us. It is the energy, the part of the knowing, the part of the all, the part of the mind that governs over what we think, feel, do, and say. And 9 governs over 3 through 8. These are all dimensions. They will be referred to as cycles. Pardon me, I had a cough drop in my mouth. So, let's read. This is from page 8 of the Emerald Tablets. I will say, this version, if you can find this, it might be a little bit difficult. Try to find, when you're looking for the Emerald Tablets, oftentimes it is not actually the text. It is somebody's explanation of the text. Many books are like that. So really examine what you're buying. Really look at what you're buying. Okay? Or what you're going to try to reference, because you really want the actual text that, for the most part, that we have a translation of. So, this would be page 8 of this translation. This is from by Dorel. This is from a group. Oh, the Brotherhood of White Temple. Yes, okay. The Brotherhood of White Temple published this. Okay. Seated within the flower of radiance sit 7 lords from the space-time above us, helping and guiding through infinite wisdom, the pathway through time, the pathway of time, of the children of men. Mighty and strange, they, veiled in their power, silent, just energy, all-knowing, drawing from the life force, yet different, yet one with the children of men. I, different, yet one with the children of light. We are the children of men. We are the children of light. Custodians and watchers of the force of men's bondage. So, bondage there means what we live in. Ready to loosen when the light has been reached. First and most mighty sits the veiled presence, Lord of Lords, the infinite 9, over the others from which cosmic cycle, weighing and watching the progress of men. So 9. There's actually more dimensions than there is a 10, 11, 12. There's actually a 13. But we're going to focus on how 9 governs the ones that really influence us. This is all about influence, okay? Under he sits the lords of cycles. 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. Each with his mission. They have a purpose. Each with his powers, guiding, directing the destiny of man. There sit they, mighty and potent, free of all time and space. These are all going at the same time, okay? These are all of our conception of time. This is all happening at once. Not of this world they, yet akin to it. Elder brothers they, of the children of men, judging and weighing, they with their wisdom, watching the progress of light among men. Now we're going to jump to another section. This would be under the Key of Wisdom, where he actually breaks down who and what these custodians are, okay? And I've seen in other forums when people were kind of referencing, and they were wondering, well, where's 1 and 2? Why does it start at 3, 4? Because he is actually talking about the dimensions we live in. We don't live in a one-dimensional world. We don't live in 2. We're at 3. 3, 4, 5. Okay? So, let's start at 3. I'm going to try to read this slowly. This is kind of hard to take in, so just bear with me. 3, dimension 3, that we all have ever known. 3 holds the key of all hidden magic. Creator he of the halls of the dead, sending forth power, shrouding in darkness, binding the souls of the children of men, sending the darkness, binding the soul force, director of negative to the children of men. That is what we live in. And we're actually going to go a little bit deeper into that with the Nag Hammadi Gnostic Scriptures, okay? That is what we live in. That is why it is hard for us to just bend that spoon. I'm going to keep going, okay? Because there is hope. There's always hope. 4, dimension 4, okay? 4 is he who loosens the power. Lord, he of life to the children of men. Light is his body. Flame is his countenance, the flame within. Freer of souls to the children of men. So the 4th dimension, which I will tell you, is all in the mind. It's actually in this area, your heart, throat, mind. These 3 need to be working together. But we have to loosen the veil of the 3rd dimension. The director of negative of the children of men. The key of hidden magic. Anything hidden is in the dark. We have to get to that 4th dimension, which many of us are now. That's why it's that push-pull we feel all the time. The push-pull, because we know in our essence, in our flame, in our knowing, that it should not be like this. We should not be struggling. We should not be feeling the pain, the fear, the worry, the doubt. We know this. But we are shrouding in darkness, binding the souls of the children of men. We are binded to this 3D darkness. 4 is just a mental place, a mental that connects the heart, the throat, and the mind. It is where the freer of souls is. The more we can look around at 3D and be like, this is not reality. This is not the life that we can live. You know why? Because once we start working more in 4 and accepting the love and the light, and let's go back to the fact that if we let go of our forgetfulness and remember the Father, the Source, 3 will cease to be. I will go into that. 5. 5 is the Master, the Lord of all magic, manifesting. The key to the word that resounds among men. When we start doing a lesson about the word, that is going to be very extensive. The word means so much. And 5 is the key to the word. 4 is where we go, okay, I might be able to bend this spoon. I bet I could. I bet I could bend this spoon. 5 is where we actually start attempting to experience possibly bending that spoon via the word. I'm going to read the rest of them, but we're not going to go into the rest of the dimensions until later in, a series of episodes. 6 is the Lord of Light, the hidden pathway, path of the souls of the children of men. 7 is he who is Lord of the vastness, master of space and the key of the times. 8 is he who orders the progress, weighs and balances the journey of men. 9, remember, who is governing over all these other dimensions, is the Father, vast he of continents, forming and changing form out of the formless. The more we progress, the more we ascend, the more 9 will actually start working with us. And we can change whatever we want. Meditate on these symbols I give thee. Keys they are, though hidden from men. Yet they're all right here. Let's talk a little bit about 3D though. If that is our blocker, if that is all that we know, that's all we know. We know 3D. We haven't known anything else for an extremely long time. But inside of us, we have the wisdom to unlock all of this and remove the darkness that governs over man. So, out of the Nag Hammadi Scriptures, I usually end up rolling that too much. The Gnostic text, I apologize. We are going to go to the Gospel of Truth. And there's a small section that breaks down what 3D is. It is referred to as error. And it is called ignorance brings error. Ignorance is just the forgetfulness of the Father. So let's continue. All have sought for the one form whom they have come from. We seek the Father. We seek the knowledge. We seek the mind. All have been within him. The inconceivable, who is beyond all thought. But ignorance of the Father brought terror and fear, and terror grew dense like a fog, the veil, so that no one could see. Thus error, 3D, grew powerful. She, meaning error, worked on her material substance in vain, since she did not know the truth, the Father. She assumed a fashion figured and prepared, with power and in beauty, a substitute for truth. This was not humiliating for the inconceivable one, for this terror and forgetfulness and this deceptive figure were as nothing, meaning this did not mean nothing to the Father. I meant nothing, or else establish truth, because he is the truth. He is the truth, the light, the way. Where else establish truth is unchanging. It is beyond. It is beyond beauty. It is the infinite. It is the mind. Error is the fog. Error is the veil. Error is the material substance created for truth. To, blind. For this reason, despise error. Error had no root. She was in a fog regarding the Father. She was there preparing works and deeds of forgetfulness and fear in order by them to attract those of the middle and take them captive. We are the middle. To take those of the middle and take them captive. We are the middle. That will go very deep when we start learning about the as above, so below, as below, so above. We are the middle. And error, forgetfulness, that third dimension that Thoth talks about, of shrouded in darkness and negativity over man is to hold us captive. Remember, though, the fourth dimension is the freer of souls. Thus, going back to the gospel of truth, the forgetfulness of error was not apparent. It is not from the Father. Forgetfulness did not come into being from the Father, but if it did come into being, it is because of him. What comes into being within him is knowledge, which appeared so that forgetfulness might be destroyed, and the Father might be known. I read this quote at the beginning. Forgetfulness came into being because the Father is not known. As soon as the Father comes to be known, all is mind, all is knowledge. Forgetfulness will cease to be. Error, 3D, will cease to be. I'll take a minute. Everybody, let's take a minute. Have a little bit of tea. Take a minute. And how does error keep us captive? How does that crappy fog material substance for truth keep us captive? Well, it says that it created that forgetfulness, created what we know as like lack and deficiency. Because in true essence, we don't lack anything. And once we can start remembering this, that we can get to 5D and move that spoon and create whatever we want, we have to first kind of get past the concept of deficiency that permeates, it saturates 3D. So this is still from the Gospel of Truth. This is page 40. For he has filled what was deficient and has done away with its appearance. Meaning, once you meet the Father, once you know the Father, once you know the knowledge, once you understand all is mind and work through a lot of 4D, that is the freer of souls. And has done away with its appearance, meaning 3D does not have its appearance anymore, it's fog. The mere appearance of what was deficient is the world, and mere appearance serves the world. So the more that we stay thinking in our 3D mindset, in all that we've ever known, so I'm not saying this is not hard, but the more we stay in it, that's the more we're going to see. That's the more we're going to feel. That's the more we're going to do. Because the mere appearance of what was deficient is the world. And the mere appearance serves the world. Give and take. But if we come to the source, come to the all is mind, forgetfulness cease. Once we get rid of forgetfulness, 3D cease to be. Error. For where there is envy and strife, there is deficiency. But where there is unity, the mind, there is completeness. So, my brothers and sisters, there's so much out there to talk about this. And for us to even wrap our heads around all is mind, all is consciousness, all is knowing, all is source. we have to get to that 4D, that freer of souls, that one that really opens us up to this should not be, none of this is okay. And we have the knowledge and the know-how within us to rise above and really truly believe it and start experimenting in different ways to learn how to manifest. And then we reach into 5 and we get the power of the word and we begin to manifest the world that we actually know, that is true. Not a fog, not forgetfulness. I want to go back real quick to Thoth. As he had said, meditate on the symbols I give thee. Keys are they, though hidden from men, because we are in 3D. Reach ever upward, O soul of the morning. Turn thy thoughts upward to light and to life. Find in the keys the numbers I bring thee, light on the pathway from life unto life. Seek thee with wisdom, turn thy thoughts inward. Find that flame that has all the wisdom within it. Close not the mind to the flower of light. Place in thy body a thought-formed picture. This is how to manifest. Think of the numbers that led thee to life. Gratitude. Clear is the pathway to he who has wisdom. Open the door to the kingdom of light. Pour forth thy flame as the sun of the morning. Shout out the darkness and live in the day. Take ye, old man, as part of thy being, the 7 who are, but are not as they seem. Open, O man, have I my wisdom. Follow the path in the way I have led. Master of wisdom, son of the morning, light and life to the children of men. He was able to break through time, space, anything. But he also knew that 3D was a part of all this. We are sovereign. And we do know how. I say this week because next week we are actually going to talk about the soul flame ego of us humans. This week, as we go about our daily stuff, our daily routine, our what we need to do. We need to pay them bills. We need to do this. We need to do that. When we do those things, take a brief moment in your mind to say, this is only error. This is not my reality. I am open to receiving the keys of wisdom. Because you will start seeing that all of this is a shroud of darkness over man. And we first have to acknowledge any kind of growth in our human essence. Any growth starts with acknowledging and then being open to receiving, being honest with ourselves. So when we have to go and do our 3D stuff, know that you will return to that flame. You will know the wisdom within. And though it may not be right now because you're entering 4D, and you might be in 4D, know that at some point, and I'm hoping very soon, we will all be able to take that spoon and go, hey, I can do whatever I want with this spoon. And I hope this helped. I hoped going through some of it and putting some of those points together how all of these dimensions have been talked about. And the one that we are currently in, the one that we have ever known, it ain't cool. It is not good. But we do have the truth, the light, and the way to get out of it, to remember and not live in the fog of forgetfulness, the error of forgetfulness. So, I love you all. If this resonated, or if it made you even think at all about, okay, maybe I can change up my mindset a little bit, because all is mind. And the more we all start going, I'm not living this 3D no more, I'm going to start living 5, the more we will see 5, the more 5 will appear. So, because our consciousness, our mind is connected to the source of all mind, we are all connected, all is mind. But we got to get through the 3D forgetfulness. I love you all. Just practice little things, because, there's a lot to be said about hope, faith, and love. It brings us back to our flame. So, cheerio to all of you. Thank you for listening. Namaste.